The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, everyone. This is Benish from WSI ALM, welcoming you to our second edition of the LaunchPad series. Got great feedback on the first one that we did last week on Monday, and a lot of the ICs also told us to swap our times. We took your feedback into consideration, and we've changed our weekly LaunchPad series to be taking place every Tuesday, going forward at 11 o'clock. Hopefully this time works better for all of you. It's a bright, beautiful morning in Toronto. It's actually sunny today for a change. We've been having pretty bad weather lately. It was raining yesterday, and even the weekend wasn't all that great. But we got some nice sun out there today. Terrific. So we got a great session lined up for you today. Thanks for everyone that's joined on for this webinar. And to kick things off, I'm going to have my colleague Armando Alas just take us through an introduction about WSI ALM, and then we can get started with the webinar. Over to you, Armando.
Good morning, everyone. This is Armando, just saying hello to everybody. And basically, I just wanted to talk a little bit about our WSI ALM for those that weren't here last week for our first LaunchPad webinar. Basically, we're based out of Toronto, Canada. We've been in the industry since 1999, and we have 2 offices here in Toronto, Canada, and a team of about 25 plus, a staff plus 25 plus in different aspects of our business. As of today, we can definitely say that we've worked with over 400 clients worldwide, but primarily our target market has been in North America. With the IC community, we're focusing right now on working with the North American IC community, both Canada and the US. And apart from that, we were very active in the SEO community, attend different seminars, forums, thought leadership forums, and as you know, we're also part of the Adaptive SEO Consortium. So that's a little bit about us. Can you move the next slide, please, Vinish?
Certainly. As a matter of fact, sorry to interrupt you, Armando. Yeah. Could you just do a quick sound check? Can everybody hear us okay? My apologies. Should have started off with that. But if you guys can hear us okay, if you could just put in a quick yes in the chat box, that would be appreciated. Excellent. So we're getting a lot of yeses. So let's continue. Sorry about that, okay. Armando. Thank you.
No problem. Yeah. And here are some of the clients that we worked with. Basically, Peter Greensberg, a known individual well, actually, Vinish kind of worked in this program, and with this program we have over about 10,000 SEO pages that we worked with them to grow their blog. Plan Canada is another client of ours that actually we've been working with them with their Google Grants program for many years, and it has expanded to different services for them, SEO, etc., as well as even infographic design and implementation. And just a list of a few of the other franchises. Our background's also in franchising, so we work with companies like Paget, LiberTax, Quiznos, Casey's, Isam Areas on the different digital marketing strategies, as well as a company out of Canada called Nutrition House. So these are some of the companies that we're working with. Just going back on Peter, Peter's a well-known journalist, a travel journalist, and basically we've been fortunate enough to work with him in his business to help him grow and brand himself online. So these are some of the clients that we work with. Okay, I mean, if you have any questions and if you need any more samples when you're doing proposals, you can just let us know. We'll do our best to accommodate. Okay, can you change the slide, please?
Certainly.
And again, for those of you that weren't here last week, these are our offerings. Many individuals always ask, okay, what is it that you focus on? What do you do? Well, these are some of the things that we primarily focus on: SEO, web development, PPC, and content writing. From the SEO perspective, we have 2 plans that we work with our ICs. although we can do a little bit of customization, but for the most part, we try to create these plans to work for the advantage of the IC and their clients. Web development, these are some of the technologies from WordPress, Joomla, eFusion, Magento, etc. And for those of you that are looking at options in Google AdWords management, we also work in setting up PPC campaigns or Google AdWords campaigns from ground zero, and managing them on a monthly basis. Content writing is another area that as an organization we've been focusing in the last 3-4 months, and basically right now we have a strong team, North American based, where we're continuously focusing to keep up with the changes in the industry, to make sure that content continues to be king, and we also work with our ICs to make sure that we can provide them with good content. Okay, Avinish?
Excellent. Thanks so much for that introduction, Armando, and thanks for the information. After that, a little bit of self-promotion. Let's actually get on to the real stuff here. Okay, so the agenda that we follow in this webinar is pretty straightforward. We tackle all the news and articles that are making news, so as to keep you updated as far as the internet marketing world is concerned, which is the overall idea for the LaunchPad series. The idea is that you go out there and you're armed with all the latest knowledge, latest information that you can share with your prospects, your clients. And you can even invite your prospects to actually attend any of our webinars. They're definitely being recorded, so we can shoot across copies of the recording to you. Just send us an email and we can take care of that for you. So the Tool of the Week section got fantastic reviews. Everybody loved the Tool of the Week review session that we have. So last week, for the ones that attended our webinar, we had reviewed the WhiteSpark Local Citation Finder tool. So what we'd done was that we'd actually given a live demo of how to use a WhiteSpark's Local Citation Finder tool, type in your related keywords related to your prospects or related to your clients, and then generate or find some really powerful citations that can be built for your local clients. A fantastic tool. We'd done a detailed review of that last week, and it's cool because you can actually run that and put that in your proposal for your prospects and show them what they're missing out on, and it can be a powerful sales tool. So we got rave reviews, and we got another exciting tool that's lined up this week for review. And again, as a disclaimer, we do not get any sort of commissions or any sort of kickbacks when we recommend tools or services. These are strictly tools that are recommended based on merit. We utilize these tools internally for our processes that we have in place, so it's strictly based on merit. We'd also be highlighting another case study. Again, we got good feedback in the case study that we showcased last week, and we got another powerful case study that we want to showcase this week for you. And feel free to utilize these case studies in, again, prospect pitches, any client case studies. So feel free to utilize these. And if you do need more information, feel free to shoot across an email to us, and we'll provide you with more details. We'd finally finish off with the Q&A. At that stage, we just kind of open the forum for you to ask us any questions. If you have any questions, just put your questions across in the chat box to us, and then myself and Armando are going to answer those questions for you. Excellent. Moving on. So huge, big news from Google. Which created issues across the board and a lot of discussion. And the news was that Google was going to take their secure searches and change them and stop providing data as far as secure searches were concerned to 100%. So there's this funny infographic with Ashton Kutcher in there where he's asking, dude, where's my keyword? And then his buddy goes, not provided. And you got a little dog there saying, don't worry, it's for privacy reasons. So that's a big news where the secure search has gone 100%. I'm sure if you haven't experienced this already in your analytics, it's going to be impacting you pretty soon. We've experienced it across the board where we've seen the not provided data in our analytics skyrocketing. So across the board, this number's gone up. So let's try and understand as to what this whole move is really all about. So for the ones that are not aware of how this whole secure search update happened or took place, in October 2011 is when Google rolled out secure search for the first time. And that essentially meant that anybody that was logged in into any of Google's properties, whether it be YouTube, Gmail, Flickr, like any of their properties, they would not be sharing your keyword data with analytics or across the board. So your keyword data would appear as not provided in your analytics account, and there'd be a number associated with that. However, this was only limited to the users that were logged in into Google properties. My apologies, there's a typo. It should be September 2013. So September 2013, which is essentially 2 years from now, Google's now rolled out this change for even users that are not logged in. And the official Google comment for this whole change was, we've added SSL encryption for assigned users in 2011. We are now working to bring this extra protection to more users who are not signed in. Now, there's a lot of controversy in terms of why Google's done this change. There's two sides to the story, as always. So the first side of the story is Google's official version, where they're essentially saying that we respect privacy. We want to make sure that we appreciate or respect everybody's privacy on the internet, which is why we are doing this for your own good, and we don't want your search data to be put across out there for being viewed in analytics. However, there is an issue. The other side of the story is that if you are doing AdWords, so if you're running an AdWords campaign, you can still see that data. So Google's kind of put out mixed messages where on one side, with regards to organic searches that are taking place, they're not providing the data, but if you spend money with them, if you actually do an AdWords campaign with them, you can view all the data. So they're still showcasing all the data. So this conflicting sort of mixed message signal that Google sent out has confused a lot of people, a lot of backlash in the industry, a lot of bad PR that Google's received, primarily from the SEO industry for obvious reasons. And again, the consensus is that they're trying to do it for AdWords. They want to make more money. For those of you that are not aware, Google also has a higher level analytics package that's $150,000 a year. It's an enterprise level analytics solution. So they haven't really talked about whether they're showcasing organic data over there or not, but a lot of people said that they are trying to push the enterprise version more, which is the reason why they did this whole change. There's a lot of talk about them doing it because of the NSA, as you all know about the whole Edward Snowden incident, you know, what's taking place over there. So Google didn't want to get in trouble with the NSA, so that's why they were like, great, let's just put secure search for everybody across the board. And then the way that they're justifying showing the data for AdWords users is, advertisers are spending money. They need to make educated decisions. So that's the reason why we've kept the data on for them, which again is a conflicting sort of like a mixed message coming across from Google. Fact of the matter is, the bottom line is that the not provided a data set of keywords in your analytics is going to skyrocket. Now the question becomes, what do you do? So moving on, it's not the end of the world. Not provided has been there since 2011, as we all know. It's been a regular part of our analytics reports. We're all aware of that. So what are some of the other things that we can do in order to get the data for the not provided keywords in an intelligent way, yet still and still continue with our intelligent decision making? So some of the things that we can potentially do is, the first most obvious thing is, let's do some PPC advertising. So the first thing is, if you want accurate impressions data for your keywords, the best thing to do is to really run an AdWords campaign, which is what we recommend to everybody. So if you have a client that has a decent sized budget per month, then we suggest that you run a PPC campaign for targeted keywords. And we've also seen a lot of discrepancy between the actual keyword searches that Google's keyword tool gives us, as compared to the impressions count that we're getting in the AdWords campaign. So there is definitely a lot of discrepancy. So if the most accurate data is coming out of Google AdWords, when you actually run a campaign and you can see the impressions count that your keywords are getting when you bid on them. So that's one way to get some intelligent keyword analysis. You can also still get keyword data on your Google Webmaster Tools account. So what they've done is that that's actually limited to the top 2,000 queries per day going back to 90 days. So you log into your Google Webmaster Tools account and you can actually see queries, but it's only going back 90 days. So we suggest that you archive the information on a month-to-month basis if the keyword information is really valuable for you, because you won't have access to that beyond 90 days. So every month, as the month passes by, just archive that information for the client in either a monthly progress report or somewhere where it's readily available for you. The other suggestion is you can use tools like Ubersuggest. So I'm just going to give you a quick snapshot of this tool. So here's Ubersuggest. It's basically a keyword suggestion tool, and the way that Ubersuggest actually pulls its listings is from Google's auto-suggest. As you know, when you type in a search in Google, it gives you auto suggestion and completes the searches for you. So Ubersuggest is a really cool tool where you type in a keyword, you choose whatever language you want selected, and then say it's English US, and then whether you want an image search, news search. So let's say we want to do a web search in this instance, and we ran a search for the keyword franchise in advance. And if you actually oops, let me get back here. Great. So if you actually scroll down, you'll start seeing all the different permutations, combinations for the keyword franchise. So they put an alphabet in front of the keyword franchise, and then they give you keywords that are associated with it. So franchise agreement, association, etc., etc., and it just continues. And this is all based on searches that are taking place in Google. So it's a pretty accurate keyword tool where it gives you a lot of good suggestions. However, again, you're not getting search volume here, but you can take the information from here, combine that with other tool sets or even your webmaster tools, and see what's kind of making sense for your campaign. This is a great opportunity for Bing. So for the ones that don't utilize Bing or haven't started utilizing Bing, I would suggest that Bing Webmaster Tools is going to start becoming or I guess the SEO industry's next best friend pretty much immediately, if not already. So Bing Webmaster Tools should be set up for clients, and all the search data that you're essentially getting from your Webmaster Tools account, just go times 10, because Bing is a very small percentage as far as share of searches in the US is concerned. So just go search data times 10. That's really what you're looking as far as search volume is concerned. But based on our experience, there is a lot of similarity as far as searches in Bing and searches in Google are concerned. It's just that the volume's tremendously higher for Google. So Bing Webmaster Tools is going to become really important. And let's see how Bing reacts to this whole secure search data change that Google's done, because this is a huge opportunity for them. And let's see if they're able to capitalize on it. The other thing that you can do, and I've actually in the next screen you'll see a couple of useful links that give you more information on this. But what you can do in order to come up with intelligent analytics for your client is that you can focus on page level traffic. So what that essentially means is that you can start looking at your top landing pages in your analytics account, and then based on your top landing pages you can kind of decipher what the keywords are that are essentially driving a lot of the traffic based on the landing pages that they're being driven to. So if you have a landing page that's kind of like focused on, let's say, in the case of a personal injury lawyer based out of, let's say, New York. So if you have an auto accident page on that website that's getting a lot of traffic, and that's one of your top landing pages, commonsensically you can take the approach that you're ranking high for auto accident lawyer New York. And that's the reason why you're getting so much traffic to that page. One more comment that I want to make on here is that if you're getting a lot of traffic to your homepage, bear in mind that prior to not provided, not being secure, not being available to us, you would have noticed that a lot of that was branded traffic. So your branded keywords are really pushing a lot of that direct traffic that was coming onto your homepage on your website. So I bet you that a lot of that percentage of that not provided is actually your branded traffic. That's your main brand related keywords that are actually coming in and pushing traffic to your website. So a huge chunk of that not provided can definitely be associated with direct traffic with your branded keywords that are coming to your website. So let's say if you're World Vision, then your branded keywords would be World Vision USA, World Vision Charity, etc., etc. You can also utilize Google's Ad Planner tool to determine search volumes and estimated clicks. So for those of you that are familiar with Google AdWords, just log into Google AdWords, create an account. You can just create an account without really spending money. But then what you do is you get access to that Ad Planner tool. And in the Ad Planner tool, you can run searches for queries, and you'd actually then get an accurate estimation on search volume for different keywords, estimated clicks at different position levels for keywords, and you can make some accurate assessments on your keyword strategy using the Ad Planner tool. And finally, what you can utilize is Google Trends. So if your clients or your prospects are in an industry that's got a lot of spikes based on seasonality or festivals, Christmas shopping, etc., then you can start utilizing Google Trends. Very powerful tool where the data almost goes back 2005, 2006, and you can start seeing trends as far as keywords are concerned based on the time of the year. And you can again make keyword assessments or keyword decisions based on the Google Trends data. So this is just these are just some ways to kind of beat the whole not provided lockdown that Google's kind of given us. And utilizing these tactics, you can make some pretty intelligent decisions on what you want to do with your clients in your campaign. So what we've done is that we've also added some pretty useful links based on research that we've done and information that we've utilized for our internal navigation as far as not provided is concerned. So there's a post by Avinash Kaushik. He's the Google Analytics evangelist, and I'm getting a question here, so I'm just going to poke that up. Oh, maybe not. All right, so we continue. So Avinash Kaushik's written a great post, and it's funny. This is actually written out, I believe, a year back when Google launched Secure Search. And Avinash talks about how you can, what you can do, what kind of data sets you can generate from Google Analytics. A little advanced, but read through it. He's given the instructions on how to do it. So it's definitely an interesting read. There's also a Whiteboard Tuesday. So Rand Fishkin from Moz, not SEO Moz, Moz now, they changed their name. So Rand Fishkin from Moz does these whiteboard sessions where he tackles controversial or interesting topics, and then he talks about it, discusses it either by himself or with somebody else. So he, again, did a Whiteboard Tuesday session on the keyword not provided challenge that the marketers are faced with, and potentially all the different solutions and techniques that we can utilize so as to get intelligent data without Google's not provided information. So I really suggest that you take a read at that as well. Kissmetrics, which is a company run by Neil Patel. You might know them from Crazy Egg that was recently launched in the WSI marketplace. So Kissmetrics also did an interesting post, and it's a quick read. It's not very big, but again, a lot of good information in the Kissmetrics blog post. So again, the links are provided for the ones that actually want to dive deeper into this topic and educate themselves even more. Excellent. Moving on. So our next big news, well, it seems like everything's happening with Google nowadays. So, there's a second big news that is associated with Google, but I guess, again, our business relies on them so heavily, so it's good to focus on them. So they launched something called the Hummingbird update. Again, caused a lot of, no pun intended, hum in the SEO industry, and as far as the official version is concerned, it's designed to be more precise and provide faster query results. It's geared a lot towards mobile users, and again, for the ones that attended our LaunchPad series last week, we talked about the whole shift from desktop to mobile. Again, Google's also taking note of that, and they're trying to improve their search queries and their search results for the mobile users that are on the go, that are utilizing voice search. And when you do voice search, sure, you can have a couple of words that you can put into your cell phone, but more often than not, and again, Google's sitting on all this data. So what they're seeing is that long phrase searches are happening more often in Google because people want more accurate results. So instead of downtown Italian restaurant, like Italian restaurant downtown Toronto, they're getting queries like, what is the best Italian restaurant in downtown Toronto? So the Hummingbird update is associated with providing a more accurate result based on this long phrase that I just kind of mentioned, and give accurate results. Again, the algorithm switch for the Hummingbird update is focused on user intent as opposed to the individual search term. So what does this mean from a marketer standpoint? And before I go into that, here's an official definition from Danny Sullivan, an explanation, not necessarily a definition. Danny Sullivan is literally, I guess, the father of SEO. He started doing SEO in 1992. He's the most famous guy that everybody knows. He runs the company Search Engine Land and his blog from Search Engine Land. And a fantastic read, and for the ones that haven't heard Danny Sullivan speak at conferences, fantastic guy, and if you ever get an opportunity to interact with him one-on-one, he's just an immense bag of knowledge. So according to Danny, Hummingbird's paying more attention to each word in a query, ensuring that the whole query, the whole sentence or conversation or meaning is taken into account rather than particular words. The goal is that pages matching the meaning do better rather than pages matching just a few words. As I'd mentioned, so again, a common example, Italian restaurant Toronto or best Italian restaurant Toronto, that's as opposed to that, Google's trying to focus more on what is the best Italian restaurant in downtown Toronto. So they want to try and get that sort of a search available for the user. So from a marketing standpoint, what does this mean for us? Of course, we still got to focus on keywords. Keywords are important. We have to focus on them so as to get the rankings up and get the traffic going and get the conversions happening. However, what this is telling us is that there are a couple of things. One, you got to have a blog on your website. You must have a blog on your website. If your clients don't have a blog, please get them to sign up for a blog or get them to install a blog on their website right away, because there's two ways to create a user intent or content intent on your website. You can either have a blog where you're putting in regular information on different topics, and you can categorize them based on what they're addressing, what topics they're addressing. Or two, you can create a resource center on your website. And in that resource center, you can basically have all the information, again, classified based on topics. So the idea is, utilizing either of these two tactics, create an intent for your website so that when Google's coming in, indexing your website and deciding what to rank your website for which keyword, they're getting a clear message. They're getting a clear signal. Now, this doesn't mean that your entire website's focused on just one topic. I mean, you have sites like about.com, you have sites like webmd.com, you have sites, medical-related websites that actually target different disease categories and are information powerhouses when it comes to different disease categories. So that's okay as long as your information is classified properly. And there's a lot of information, a lot of good, rich information on each of these subject matters that you're trying to address in your website. So the goal is, get a blog, make sure that you're categorizing the blog properly and the blog posts in all the different areas, or launch a resource center and then make sure that you have your indexing and your taxonomy in your resource center very correctly identified so that when Google's coming in to index your resource center, they can index it based on all the different topics that you're trying to address, and you're sending out a clear message to Google in terms of what your resource center is addressing. But that is key, because it's all about the intent of your website as opposed to an individual search keyword, which is what really Google's kind of moving towards in order to make their search results better. Great, so that's Google's Hummingbird update. I'm gonna try and speed this up a little bit. Want to leave some time for questions in the end. This is a fantastic article that was featured on Search Engine Land, I believe a couple of days back or 3 days back, and this basically talks about 4 ways to avoid an SEO disaster of monumental proportions. Very interesting topic. I'm going to let Armando delve into this a little bit more. He's definitely very, very experienced when it comes to this area, and we've had our share of SEO disasters here, and no one's perfect. So what have we learned? And this article was fantastic because it actually summed up a lot of the information that we sort of like were experiencing. So I kind of like Armando take over, and our apologies, I do see a typo right there with the spelling involved. We do know how to spell that. Our apologies there. Armando, take it away.
Thank you, Avinish. Excellent. Yeah, this was a great article that was featured on Search Engine Land, and as we know, there's hundreds of internet marketeers or thousands of internet marketeers around the world, and the best thing is to share best business practices. And one of the key things that I really liked about this article was the reality and the tonality that speaks to the everyday internet marketing consultant, where you're working with a client, and you have clients that are great. They pat you in the back, they give you a high five. They're very happy that you're working with them. You have other clients that are a little bit more lukewarm. They don't want to share. They don't want to give you a pat on the back all the time, but they understand that you're doing a great job. Then you have clients that they should never be your clients, and it's hard, specifically for new ICs, as you're going through this life cycle of acquiring new clients. Which ones you should be focusing on. And the interesting fact, one of the things that the author, a well-known SEO also marketeer, Stoney DeGaler, he talks a little bit about the first thing that you should do is know what you're getting into, and this is basically broken down into two sections. One is qualifying your client, right? So qualify who you're going to enter into a relationship with. Okay, and number two, understand the SEO project. Understand what's happening. Try to get as much of a background of the past, the present, and where they want to go. Because if you get excited about the sale and all you care is about, at the end of the day, the contract, you may not be able to meet the client's, expectations. You may not be able to deliver the results the client wants, right? So one of the key things that he talks about in this, very short read is really being able to understand what the client requires, and that you are also happy with this customer. That as much as they are qualifying and vetting you, that you also do a little bit of vetting yourself. At the end of the day, you don't want to be providing a service when you're not going to get paid because a company goes bankrupt. Do they have the budget? Right? Client will always ask for more. The client will always say, well, you know what, these are my requirements, and they'll tell you, from here to the moon of all their wishes and wants, a huge wish list. But at the end of the day, do they have the budget to meet that? Because you, as an SEO specialist or as an internet marketeer or digital marketing consultant, you want to deliver for them. You're excited about this new project, but if you're not given the tools, the budget to be able to deliver, you're pretty much, in the verge of creating an SEO disaster for your client. So very, very important for new ICs to, number one, qualify your client and understand the SEO project. And even for mature ICs as well, sometimes we forget that. Sometimes we have to go back to basics, and then when we have a client that all of a sudden relationship's not working out, we have to go back to the basics, to the drawing board, and say, well, you know what has happened? Why is this happening? And sometimes it's because we haven't qualified the client as well. So that's very important. Number two, set proper expectations. Again, for new ICs, this is very important, because you want to make sure that by setting the proper expectations, part of that is really educating the client, educating the client on your role as a consultant, your team's role, and also the client's role, because you also want to have them involved, which is the next point. But really, from the beginning, setting the proper expectations is very important, because otherwise, the client's going to be emailing you every day, the client's going to be calling you every day, and when you look at the numbers for the amount of money that sometimes you may be able to get paid from a client, it's not worth it. So sometimes this happens because when we go through the pre-sales process, and even the first 1 or 2 meetings that you have with them, they command the conversation. They actually manage the conversation, as opposed to you as a consultant educating them on the process, right? Last week there was a funny video, YouTube video that Vinny shared with us, which is, why am I not number one on Google? And funny enough, because we work with many clients, we get to see that from clients where all they care is, results, and they don't care about how it's done. They don't really understand how it's done, and partly it's our fault because we don't set proper expectations from the beginning. If we were to educate with them how the process works, what are the deliverables at each process, they will then understand how they're going to get to the end goal. So really, setting proper expectations, managing expectations is very key for you to keep clients happy as well as keep clients for a long time. Very important. Okay. The next one is obviously keeping the client involved. This is another interesting point that I really liked about this article. And sometimes we forget, sometimes we say, well, you know what, the client's looking for me to provide guidance. Why do I need to get him involved? Or you know what, the client's always busy. They don't have the time. I can't get a hold of him. Well, for this formula, for any marketing formula to work, whether it be digital, whether it be TV, whether it be media, any type of media, you have to have a collaboration, and you have to have feedback from the client. From an SEO perspective, for example, if we're to look at SEO, you know what, you need to have them involved even in the keyword research analysis. Obviously, you're not asking them to give us the keywords or give you the keywords, but you're asking for feedback, because at the end of the day, the client knows their business better than you or us, which is very important. Number two, as you're rolling out your strategy, your content writing strategy, always keep them involved, because the more involved they are, the better you'll be able to meet their requirements, and the better you'll be able to meet their expectations as well. So this is very important. Understand that, you have clients that don't want to get so involved, but again, you go back to number one. Know what you're getting into. Qualify your client. Do you want a client that doesn't want to spend the time as well? And at the end of the day, they're creating headaches. That's very key. And number four, know when to cut your losses. As much as we don't like to lose clients, sometimes, we have to deal with that. It is what it is, right? And I hate losing, and I'm pretty sure everybody hates losing. And it's very important that at the end of the day, you don't want that client to first take a lot of your time, right? Take a lot also emotionally, because you're always catering to their needs, and at the end of the day, they're never happy, right? And number three, you don't want them to be creating a bad name from you. So if you can cut those losses, the sooner the better, right? I just had quickly, just to give you an example, we were working with an IC who had a great client, started a great relationship in the beginning. Unfortunately, the company that we're working with, they had an intermediary team, which was a third-party team managing their website, all of their technology, and the programmer / IT person or team, they thought they knew SEO better than us. So every time the IC wanted to implement something new or anything that was a regular implementation onto the website, we always had to actually sell the IT guy on why we were making those changes. And again, this could have been avoided if you're knowing what you're getting into, if you're setting the proper expectations to the client and who you have to work with, right? And you keep the client involved. So at the end of the day, it's really important to know when to cut your losses. So if you have a chance, it's a very, very short article, but it hits it right on the nail, and it makes you kind of think about how we can work better with our clients. So that's what I have to share. Hopefully you get a chance to read it. Vinish?
Excellent. Great. Thanks, Armando. That was definitely useful. And just to add to a point that Armando made over there, and just sharing a bit of my experience as well, we've seen, and this is key, we've seen the highest retention rates. So we've seen the highest retention rates with people that are involved, with people that we have our monthly progress reports with. The ones that we do not, that kind of fall behind, the ones that we do monthly progress report updates once in 3 months, or once a quarter, or once once every so often, are the ones that have the most chances of dropping off and not renewing with you, because there's so much competition out there. Somebody's pitching to your client every single day. They're getting cold calls, they're getting hit with emails. So the idea is to keep your client involved, have those report discussions with them every month, so they do really understand and appreciate what you're doing for them on a monthly basis, and identify opportunities as far as upsells are concerned, because that's a great way to even upsell some more of your products and solutions that are going to benefit the client when you're doing your monthly progress report discussions with them. And again, in our discussions with the ICs, we've noticed that a lot of ICs do not do monthly progress report discussions with their clients. It's just like, they flick a switch, it continues, they send them a report, but they don't have to take that time out of the day and just give the client one call a month for about half an hour, 45 minutes, and take them through the reports. It's so important. You'll see an impact in your renewal rates if you do that on a consistent basis. Excellent. Thanks for that, Armando. So moving on. Another big news this week, which is kind of interesting and is a lesson for every single person that's tempted to do some naughty stuff out there, some black hat stuff out there when it comes to SEO, especially when it comes to local and fake reviews. So there were 19 companies that were fined by the by the DA in New York for fake reviews, and it was primarily a big initiative from Yelp and Google. Primarily from Yelp, because we had the Yelp legal counsel officially talking about this, and they quoted themselves when they were in the media and this whole thing was announced, where they did a sting operation. So they took it to the next level. They did a sting operation where they actually contacted 19, like they put out ads posing as people that would be able to do fake reviews, and they were engaged either by SEO companies or these direct companies, these 19 companies that incorporated, that basically paid for their service or solicited their service in order to do these fake reviews. And it's a big issue for Yelp. According to Yelp, they're getting almost about, I think, 50 or 80 million visitors. I believe it is a day or a week. I believe it's a day. They're getting about 50 million visitors a day. And according to them, the people are counting on them for accurate reviews so that they can make an assessment or determination of the product or service, whether it's a restaurant, whatever it is. So they want to make sure that the review integrity is maintained on their websites. Same with Google. It's not any different. So the main two parties that were involved in this litigation were Yelp and Google, and it was an undercover investigation of the SEO companies that was essentially launched by the DA in New York. And they fine these companies. The fines range from $3,000 all the way up to $250,000. Again, you want to stay away from all this. You know, at times you're kind of tempted to take the easy way out. You're not getting any reviews for your clients, and you know, all of a sudden you end up on Fiverr.com and you get these nice lovely ladies out of Romania or wherever, or different countries for that matter, that are basically going to do these reviews for you, for $5, and they'll do testimonials for you, the record testimonials for you. Very tempting. Stay away from it, because at the end of the day, if it's not accurate, it's going to come back and it's going to bite you. You don't want that. And once your reputation is tarnished, it's impossible to kind of fix it. Well, I wouldn't say impossible. Everything's fixable, especially with us with SEO and reputation management. But why open that whole Pandora's box for yourself? So this was interesting. This has never been done before, where SEO companies and direct clients are actually fined over fake reviews. So this litigation is massive, and you can actually read about it more on the Attorney General website. We've put the link in the slide at the bottom. So for those that again want more information on this, can go down to the slide and read more about it. Great, moving on. There's a fantastic beginner's guide to conversion rate optimization that was actually taken out by a company called Coraloo, and they got mentioned in Moz. Great guide, read through it, excellent information. I've kind of given you a little preview of the chapters that are here, what CRO, why is it important, basics, etc., etc. I'm just kind of breezed through because of lack of time. And what I really liked was their whole analogy on the keyword converts. And they've broken it down, in terms of what all the individual alphabets that converts stand for, which essentially sums up conversion rate optimization. So definitely a must read. Take a look at it, retweet it. It's fantastic. Add it in your blog. It's a great read. Great, moving on. So as far as the tool of the week is concerned, we've chosen the Moz on-page grader to demonstrate this week. This is an amazing tool. We utilize this a lot as far as our campaigns are concerned, and it's amazing because it actually breaks down everything for you in terms of what you need to do for your page in order for you to rank well for a particular keyword. So I'm actually going to give you an example. So we ran a report for World Vision. So World Vision Canada is the keyword, is the website, and then you have the keyword which is sponsor a child. I'm actually going to go back. Let's see if I can actually run it once again. It might take a bit of time. So all you have to do, it's very simple. Just click on page grader, in Moz.com. I think it is a paid tool, so you would have to subscribe to Moz in order to utilize this tool. But if there's any reports you want to run for your clients, prospects, keywords, please shoot us an email. We'd be more than willing to do that for you. We can export that information to PDF, send that across to you. We can definitely get that done for you. So you put in the website, you put in the keyword. What it does is it actually looks at that page for a variety of different factors and then gives your page a grade. And the goal is to obviously get an A grade. And then based on that, it's no surprise that this site for this keyword is ranking 2. The good thing is that our client's beating them. Which is Planned Canada for Sponsor a Child in Google Canada, which is great. But this is a good example, which is the reason why I pulled it up. So if I actually scroll down, so it actually breaks everything down for you in terms of what you should be doing or how are you doing in relation to a particular attribute, which is an important ranking factor for your page to rank high for a particular keyword. So it talks about canonical tags, looks at your page title, looks at your search engine accessibility, keyword usage in the document, exact keyword usage in the page title, avoidance of keyword stuffing, keyword usage, keyword placement in the page title, multiple page title elements, characters, static URL, more than one meta description element. It analyzes the meta elements, looks at your alt tags, looks at your keyword density, looks at your URL length, looks at your subfolders, looks at your external links, header tags, page title length, etc., 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 and it just keeps going on and on. The beautiful thing about this tool is that it actually gives you an explanation, a detailed explanation of each and every one of the items that it's reviewing, and it also talks about how important it is. So it mentions all the critical elements right at the top, like the rel canonical, page title, accessibility, etc., keyword usage in the document. And then, so there's critical, there's high importance, scrolling down there's moderate importance, and then scrolling down there's low importance. And then basically it looks at all these factors and then it assigns you a rank for your keyword for that page. And so in this case they got an A grade. They've done amazing as far as this keyword is concerned. Fantastic. And then you can actually grade different websites, different keywords, and look at how your website or your web page, as a matter of fact, because you can do this for any single page on your website, not necessarily the home page, and then see how that's ranking for that keyword. And then based on feedback, let's say if it's a C or a D or whatever the case is, you can look at the contributing factors, see what's causing the impact and where you're failing or where the site's failing, and then you can make the appropriate fix to fix that situation and make sure that you get your grade higher when you run this tool again and re-index this page. Fantastic tool. We love it. We use it a lot. For the subscription that we pay Moz, I mean, the forum's great. We're pretty active participants in the Q&A in Moz. There's a lot of information there, but even just alone for this tool itself, the subscription's worth it because it just kind of gives you such a nice clean snapshot of what you need to be doing in order to get your web page to rank high for a particular keyword. So that was our tool for this week that we wanted to review. And continuing, lastly, we also want to talk about a case study. So this week we decided to showcase one of our oldest clients. We've been working with this client for a really long time. It's Best Displays and Graphics. So what they basically do is that they provide banner stands, trade show booths, all kinds of trade show associated material. And we've been working with them for a while. And we deployed an SEO strategy for them based on content. Very savvy client. I mean, they know what they're doing. They quiz us a lot. They're very hands-on, very detail-oriented. And what we've been doing for them is that we've been focusing a lot on content, a lot on blogging, to the extent where we actually put out almost like 7 or 8 posts a week for them. And you can actually look at the posts. You can go to bestdisplays.com/blog, and you can actually look at all of the blog posts that are being written for them. And you've been doing a lot of local citations, and very recently the Best Displays was ranked for a second consecutive year as the top 500 fastest growing companies in Canada. There's a Profit magazine that comes out, and they basically rank companies. It's kind of like the Inc. 500 for Canada. And for a second consecutive year, they were ranked in this, and Jeff Martin, the owner, gave us a call thanked us personally for all the work that we've done in his account and this accomplishment. They're very proud about it, and that's fantastic. When you hear something like this, and then you can utilize this case study to showcase it for your prospects or some other clients and share this. It's always good to hear that you're a part of something that's ended up being successful, and you're making a difference in the client's life. Because at the end of the day, that's really what it's all about. So Jeff was really excited and happy with what we've done for him, and it's been a good success. Just wanted to share some rankings with you. So highly competitive keywords. I mean, trade show booth, displays Toronto, trade show booths, booth display, exhibit display, and these are some of the rankings that they have. Again, we're trying to continually go after that golden position, which is number 1. Keeps fluctuating. He's been at the top spot, and then you come down, and then you get back up in there. But these are sort of like consistent rankings across the board that he's always been experiencing. And prior to him coming on board with us, he obviously was not ranked at all. And this is essentially some of the ranking achievements that we've been able to do for him. So feel free again to utilize this case study, or if you want more information, just shoot us an email, and you can definitely utilize this case study, or we can provide you with more information. Excellent. We come to the end of the session. If you have any questions, please email Armando or myself. Armando's email is armando@wsilm.com, or you can shoot us an email at info@wsilm.com. You can call us anytime. Goes to a call center, so it's 24 hours. You want to leave a message middle of the night for us to call you back, no problems. Just call our toll-free, and we'll get the message right away and give you a call back. Or you can even add Armando on Skype and bug him with any questions that you have, and we'd be very glad to answer them for you. Great. I am getting some questions, so at this stage, I'm actually going to start taking questions. So I'm going to start right from the beginning. So Sharon had asked us if we work with any large luxury hotels. Sharon, I think we did some work with the Radisson Group. However, I wasn't personally working on that account. I had another one of our colleagues or account executives working on it. I'm going to check our database and have Armando get back to you with that information. The next one was from John. So he asked us about, so for keyword volumes found in Google AdWords, does it show you your organic numbers or just list the AdWords traffic? So there is, they've made a change, John, and they actually show you organic as well as AdWords traffic. So they've started displaying both the numbers. I'll make sure that we shoot you across a separate email so as to give you more information on this topic. Mark Patton had a question. How do I learn more about implementing a blog or a resource such as indexing and taxonomy? So there's a lot of information that's available, Mark. What I can do is I can have one of our colleagues over here internally compile sort of like a resource list, or even have a discussion with you if you have a particular prospect or a client in mind, and we can provide this information to you one-on-one. If you could actually just shoot us an email, Mark, at either Armando or WSILM or info@wsilm.com, that'd be terrific, and we'll get this out to you. Mark also had another question. So how does the Moz on-page grader compare to that of WebScan? So good question. It's two different reports. WebScan kind of looks at the entire website and then grades it based on a whole bunch of different factors. WebScan's great as a prospecting tool because you can do the report relatively quickly, and it's a pretty decent, impressive report where you take that out and your prospect's impressed at all the information that you've kind of gathered for him based on the WebScan. Excellent report. We look at the Moz on-page grader as a more advanced, a more sophisticated tool for doing on-site optimization. So let's say, WebScan's providing information to a certain extent, but if you want to really go granular and in-depth, then there's a lot of information that the Moz on-page grader is giving you that WebScan does not. Like, it doesn't go into that sort of like granularity. So that's the reason why we love the on-page grader. It's a specialized tool for on-site optimization, whereas I'd say WebScan is more sort of like a generic tool giving you a lot of information overall about the website, whereas the on-page is a more sort of a specialty tool when it comes to on-site optimization. John's given us a compliment, mentioned great webinar. Excellent, John. Terrific that you could attend it. Great. Any other questions? You can pop them in the window. Just kind of looking at it. Great, no more questions. Well, once again, thank you very much for everybody taking time out of your busy schedules. You know how busy you are. Thanks so much from Armando and myself for attending this webinar. And stay tuned. We look forward to having you in our next week's webinar, where we'd be again reviewing another exciting tool for you, and we'd be changing things up, just to give you a heads up. So we'll have some interviews lined up with some thought leaders in the industry. We're in the midst of organizing that right now for everybody's benefit. So we'll switch things around, but we'll look forward to you next week, Tuesday, 11 a.m. Thank you so much.